Hi, I'm Herwin Triananda. Well, here I would like to explain about correlational design. But firstly, forgive me if I speak in English and in Bahasa because it's in order to make it easier to be understood. And correct me if I'm wrong because there are some points that actually I'm still a little bit confused about this. So maybe Miss Prida will give more explanation about this. So, there are 4 points that we will discuss in this video. The first point is the explanation about correlational design. The second point is kinds of correlational design, and the third point is the research procedure, and the last one is the example. Okay, the first point is the definition of correlational research design. Correlational research design is a type of research method that involves observing two or more variables in order to establish a statistically corresponding relationship between them. Correlational research produces index that show both the direction and the strength of the relationship among the variables. This index called as coefficient correlation. Jadi teman-teman, correlational research design adalah salah satu jenis metode penelitian yang di dalamnya melibatkan dua atau lebih variabel untuk menguji adanya hubungan di antara variabel-variabel tersebut. Nah, penelitian korelasi ini nantinya akan menghasilkan indeks yang menunjukkan arah dan seberapa besar kekuatan hubungan antara dua variabel tersebut. Indeks inilah yang disebut sebagai koefisien korelasi. Next, we go to the second point, that is kind or type of correlational research design. There are three types of correlational research design. The first is positive correlation, the second is negative correlation, and the last one is zero correlation. Let's discuss it together. Okay, the first one is positive correlation. It means that both variables change in the same direction. When there is an increase in one variable, it leads to increase to the other variable. And also, when there is a decrease in one variable, it leads to the decrease in the other variable. For example, the increase of workers' remuneration results in an increase in the price of goods and service. Jadi, positif korelasi adalah hubungan di mana perubahan antara dua variabel tersebut mengarah pada arah yang sama. Jadi ketika satu variabel ini arahnya naik, maka variabel yang lain pun juga akan ikut naik. Begitu pula ketika satu variabel itu arahnya turun, maka variabel yang lain pun ikut turun. Contohnya seperti kenaikan upah pekerja berpengaruh pada kenaikan harga barang dan jasa. The second one, negative correlation. It means that the variable change in opposite direction. If there is an increase in one variable, the second variable will show a decrease. For example, as a coffee consumption increase, the tiredness decrease. Jadi, negative correlation adalah hubungan di mana ketika dua variabel tersebut, ketika yang satunya arahnya naik, yang satunya arahnya turun. Seperti contohnya ketika kita begadang mengerjakan tugas, terus merasa kelelahan, terus kita minum kopi, akhirnya kelelahan itu pun hilang karena minum kopi. Jadi ketika minum kopi itu arahnya naik, kelelahan kita itu arahnya turun, seperti itu. The last one, zero correlation. It means that there is no relationship between the variable. So when there is a change in one variable, it doesn't lead to a change in the other variable. For example, being a millionaire and happiness is not correlated because sometimes the increase in money it doesn't lead to the happiness. Jadi, zero correlation adalah tidak adanya hubungan antara dua variabel yang diteliti. Seperti contohnya, ketika menjadi kaya itu belum tentu menciptakan sebuah kebahagiaan. Karena kadang yang sederhana lebih bermakna. So we go to the next point, that is research procedure. I think it would be a long explanation because there are some important points in this part. So listen it carefully and watch this video until the end. Some important point of research problem is, the first one is problem selection, and then the sample, the instrument, design and procedure, data collection, and the last one is data analysis and interpretation. Okay, the first one is problem selection. There are some important points here, such as the first one is variable x related to variable y, and then how well does variable p predict variable c, and the last one is what are the relationship among a large number of variable and what prediction can be made. Jadi penjelasan untuk masing-masing poin ini. Poin pertama, apakah variabel x ini benar-benar mempunyai hubungan terhadap variabel y? Nah, itu nanti akan masuk ke relationship study yang akan saya jelaskan pada bagian data collection. And for the B point, how well does variable p predict variable c? For your information, variable p or predictor variable is a variable that used to predict, and then variable c is a variable criteria that is the target of the prediction. Jadi hampir sama dengan poin yang kedua, tapi bedanya yang B ini masuk ke kategori prediction study. Jadi variabel variabel P nanti akan memprediksi variabel C. Seperti itu. And the last one is what are the relationship among a large number of variable and what prediction can be made. Jadi the number of sample that taken will affect the accuracy of the result. Jadi semakin banyak variabel yang sampel yang digunakan, maka akan semakin akurat pula hasil yang akan dihasilkan nantinya. Okay, the next point is sample. The sample should be researchable and significant, so it should be selected carefully and it's taken from an appropriate population, and also it should be no less than 30 sample. Why? Because the data that obtained from a sample that lesser than 30 sample may give an inaccurate estimate of the degree of relationship that exists. And then the sample that larger than 30 are much more likely to provide meaningful result. Next, about the instrument. The instrument of this research can be taken from the test, questionnaire, or observation, and also can be taken from the record, for example like grade transcript. And remember, the instrument should always show validity. Next, we continue to discuss design and procedure. Actually, I'm still a little bit confused how to explain it to you because it's too complicated, I think. So maybe Miss Priya will help me to give more explanation about this. Well, okay. 2 or more score are obtained from each individual in the sample. 1 score for each variable of interest. And then the pairs of score are then correlated, and the resulting correlation coefficients indicates the degree of relationship between variables. Jadi 2 skor yang diperoleh dari setiap individu dalam sampel dan 1 skor untuk setiap variabel yang diminati. Pasangan skor kemudian dikorelasikan dan hasil indeks tersebut yang bernama koefisien korelasi nantinya akan menunjukkan tingkat hubungan antara variabel. Seperti itu penjelasannya. For example, like this one. This table shows the sample. This is the samples, and then anggap saja ini adalah individu, kemudian ini adalah variabel-variabel yang akan diobservasi. Nah, nanti kita akan mengambil sampel dari beberapa individu. Nah, dari beberapa individu ini nantinya akan diambil variabel yang kemudian variabel-variabel yang di sini nantinya akan diobservasi, diteliti untuk menunjukkan sebuah hasil apakah ada hubungan antara variabel-variabel tersebut. Seperti itu kira-kira penjelasan dari saya. Next, the data collection. There are 2 studies that includes in correlational research design. The first one is relationship study and the second one is prediction study. The relationship study is all the data on that variable will usually be collected within a fairly short time. And then in the prediction study is the measurement of the criteria variables often takes place sometime after the measurement of the predictor variables. Jadi bedanya itu, kalau yang relationship study dilakukan secara bersama-sama, sedangkan yang predictor variable itu diukur terlebih dahulu dulu sebelum mengukur variabel kriteria. And also, there are two data collection methods that are used to collect the information in correlational research design. The first method is naturalistic observation, and the second one is archival data. Naturalistic observation is when we gather the data about behavior or phenomena in its natural environment without intervening. It often involves recording, counting, describing, and categorizing action and events. And then, while the archival data is the data that has been previously collected by doing similar kind of research. Okay, the last one, the data analysis and interpretation. The result of this research will be a decimal between 0.0 or positive 1.0 or maybe negative 1.0. The closer the coefficient is to positive 1.0 or negative 1.0, the stronger the relationship is. If the sign is positive, the relationship is positive. It means that high score on one variable tend to go with the high score on the other variables. While if the sign is negative, the relationship is negative. It means that high score on one variable tend to go with the low score on another variable. And the last one, coefficient they are at or near 0.0 indicates that there is no relationship exists between the variable involved. So guys, we finally arrived at the end of the point of this video, that is the example. Here I took two examples from international journal and national journal. That is, the first example is a correlational study of the relationship between lifestyle knowledge and metabolic disorder. And the second example is a correlational study between habit in listening to English songs and vocabulary mastery and listening skill. That's all my explanation about correlational research design. I hope that I give you clear explanation about that. But if there are some confusing point, you can ask Miss Prila to get more detail about that. I'm Herwin Triananda, and bye bye.